Hi, and welcome to Tech and Table, a new podcast by the PEI IT Alliance, celebrating island innovators in the tech space here on PEI. My name is Chris Gallant. I'm the executive director with the PEI IT Alliance, and I'm here in the beautiful Ada Culinary Studio, a space dedicated to pushing the limits of creativity and food. And with me is Mary Côté, the CTO of Kindsight. Thanks for coming aboard.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, let's have a great chat and see where things take us and really send some interesting stories to our listeners.
Awesome.
First and foremost, why don't you tell me about your upbringing and kind of how that shaped your career that would unfold in the years?
The first thing I will say is I am the youngest of three, so there was two other great humans that paved the path in front of me, and often they say when you're the youngest of the family, you have a little bit more confidence, maybe than the previous one. So I always wanted to do a little bit things my own way and kind of do things differently. My whole family is scientists. My father has a PhD in chemistry. My brother has a PhD in physics. My sister has a master in chemistry. And I knew when I was very young, I am not going in science and there's no changing my decision. And I would say that that set the tone for a lot of the things I've done in my career is I never wanted to be like everyone else. I wanted to kind of do things a little bit more differently. That really took shape when I was 19 and I had to pick a university. So I grew up in Quebec City, very French Canadian. I wanted to learn English. A lot of my friends that I had done CEGEP with, which is a Quebec school thing, were going to McGill because that was the cool thing to do, to go to Montreal. And I'm like, I don't want to do like everyone else. So that's when I actually moved to Dalhousie, very French, decided to go learn English there. My father and my family tried to convince me to do Laval University or stay close to home like the rest of my family did, and I just didn't want to. So that really set the tone, I guess, to just about everything I've done in life. Is I just always wanted to do it a little bit differently, a little bit my way, and I think it paid off. And I've taken challenges that I always thought my whole career, like, is this the one that's gonna break me? Am I pushing the envelope too far? And I've learned after taking one or two challenges that, you know what, I can do this. Like, I mean, maybe the next one coming up is the one that's gonna break me, but I think I'm getting up there in the birthdays that I think I know what I can take on, what I can't take on. So
Very self-aware, and that's a lot of learning at a pretty primordial age and everything. You know, you go into a new area, there's clearly a lot of new language learning in there. It's a whole different setting in your life, new people, all of this. You know, when you're going through that mode and it's starting to pan out, maybe what do you think the next few steps in your career on, you know, what was success looking like? What was failure looking like?
Um, I would say failing fast has been something that I've hold close to my heart. People that are in my circle are very aware that I love talking about self-awareness, vulnerabilities. Uh, I'll do a shameless plug. I am a big believer of the Predictive Index, which is a behavioral assessment tool. It has shaped my career. Actually, in my first interview coming out of university, uh, the I was interviewed by the Robert Irving Empire, and they are a
Mhm.
big believer in this assessment. And they're the one that told me I had just graduated with an accounting degree, and they said, "You're not an accountant." And I said, "What do you mean I'm not an accountant? I just did 4 years of university in accounting, and I just love math, and I just want to do accounting." And they said, "Your style is not that. You do not like routine. You do not like you want to juggle more than one thing at a time, and you're gonna just not enjoy the repetition that comes with being an accountant." And that really helped me my whole career. It gave me self-awareness of my kind of working style, what I'm good at, what I'm not good at. I'm extremely impatient. It's a graphical representation of how you make decision. My patience level is very far on the left. And it just helps you kind of recognize, when things are tough, it's probably because it's pulling against my grain of what I'm kind of wired to do. And, I kind of know what challenges I can take on and I cannot take on based on what I am good at and not good at.
I'm getting the sense that you enjoy taking a non-traditional path and kind of maybe even finding a way to work through something that people are telling you can't do. So then, you go through this accounting program, but nowadays you're in tech, and knowing a little bit about your background in the supply chains management and such. Can you walk me through that journey of like how did you make that jump, and was that met with the same kind of maybe resistance in your peers or your family or anything like that?
It was interesting. I mean, I'm not super young, but back in the days when you did a business degree, it was pretty much finance, accounting, HR, or marketing. There was not really many other options. I knew I was not an HR person. I always liked business and I love numbers. I always just love math. I made sure my kids love math. I'm a very mathematical mind. So that's why I did accounting. Uh, and then I just assumed that when you do that, you go in and work in an accounting department. Now, caveat, I did do a co-op program. So I did get a taste of what life in accounting was a little bit. So whenever I was interviewed by the Irvings and they said, would you like to do something else? I said, well, as long as it's problem solving and there's some mathematical aspect to my job, I absolutely do it. So I kind of always liked trying something new, and I never really feared about kind of entering something unknown as long as there was some common ground, math being often the thing. So I started in supply chain management. I did logistical analysis, freight analysis, and how I fell into tech slowly is there was a large implementation of a software at Cavendish Farms where I worked at the time, and the whole implementation of the project was kind of not being adopted by the staff, and I was kind of asked, could you figure out why are people not using it? Is it because it's not working? Is it broken? Is it poorly implemented? Is it staff? So I was there really to kind of support the mathematical aspect of the supply chain, but I fell into software that way and kind of became the subject matter expert. And pretty much in the end, I was kind of owning the whole product suite. And I really like kind of solving software problems and creating efficiencies in everyone's job by automating things in supply chain management. So I did that for 7, 8 years. And then I kind of just wanted to do something different. And that's when an opportunity in software came up with Deltaware and PEI. And at the time, they were lacking expertise in supply chain management like SMEs. So it was Oracle. It had nothing to do with what I came from, but I was like, I can probably, knowledge transfer and just take my expertise in the field of supply chain management, but bring this to Oracle. And I did this for a little bit. And again, I like problem solving. I like getting stuff done. So I like finishing project, high quality. And one thing led to another. There was areas in that business that kind of needed attention. I kind of became known a little bit as, when projects were going a little off the rail, well, Mary can go try to close it up and finish it. It's probably my impatience in me that drove me to be good at that. And then one thing led to another. I started managing the product suite there, and then I managed, somewhat the roadmap at Deltaware. And then this opportunity came with iWave to go manage a product and a development team with a single product and a big client base. And I was like, why not? It's very similar. It's just a little stretch from what I was doing. And then I think that's kind of what happened my whole career is there was enough familiarity from what I was doing to the next opportunity. And I said, I just have to learn a little sliver, and then I'll push myself and learn a little sliver. And then here I am doing like a dream job with the dream team at Kindsight.
Well,
Yeah.
fantastic. I really like what you said there about the early days of going into Deltaware and how they needed what you had been working on in terms of your skills back at Cavendish Farms. You're pulling that into Deltaware. It's not what we normally think of when we say transferable skills, but really it was there, and that seems to be a recurring theme in your career profile as you made your way towards iWave, now Kindsight. Do you think that's one of your special powers along the train, or is there something kind of in your toolkit in your bag that you feel has really allowed you to embrace these different environments and somehow make them look like it's all made perfect sense to you?
I find like the common thread in everything I've done is, I mean, just the basic sense of project management. Like I'm a planner. I can see things in a graphical representation. So there was always some level of project management throughout my career. My impatience and my desire to just get stuff done, like it kind of helped me kind of push the limit and successfully, and not always successfully. I've had a couple little, missed projects and things, uh, but I would say one key thing that I suspect people that have worked with me or on my teams or as coworkers is I take a lot of attention to people's behaviors and personalities. I'm a big believer that uh, people thrive when they're doing the things that naturally align with their strengths and weaknesses. Uh, the predictive index again is very telling for me. I cannot manage people if I don't know what their PI looks like. I try to match people, with the jobs that align with their style. There's people that do not like to multitask, and there's people that love to multitask. They both could be brilliant developers, but you got to make sure you put those people on the right project. And I'd say that has been a continuous thing that has helped me kind of be successful at building teams, is kind of taking the time to not just getting smart people in the room, but getting people to work well together, collaborate, be vulnerable, be self-aware, and don't take things personally. Like just put problems on the table, we'll solve them and we'll move forward. So I think that has been something that has, kind of helped me succeed, is kind of how I bring people management into getting stuff done. And I am trying not to say the other S word when I say getting stuff done. I'm being good. I'm being good. But yeah.
Well, when you're going through those modes of you brought up the predictive index, and it's clear that this is not only something you buy into, but you also seem to use in a professional setting. And you've been, pardon the pun, but riding the wave of the the eventual merger into Kindsight, and the kind of the rebuild of the whole company there. So going through that whole scaling process while you're really trying to line up the personalities to the roles to the business units, what was that like? And what can you tell us about maybe some of the mistakes you made along the way, as well as kind of how you were trying to keep that on course while things were kind of bustling?
I think uh, a key to success in this whole iWave to Kindsight transition is the person I've reported to for a big part of this. Ross Beatty is a fabulous CEO, and he's probably also wired a little bit like me. He takes great pride in emotional intelligence and making sure people collaborate and work well together. So I think this kind of growth and learning and just talking about the things that are going well and not going well as an exec team, like it's been challenges. It's been super rewarding, a lot of growth, and even more announced this week. Uh, but doing it with the proper leadership that is not just about, the bottom line, but it's about building a team that will work together, that will trust each other, uh, is the reason why it's been working. I'm just lucky that I, embarked on that journey with him in 2018. Did leave for a little bit, but he's back. And it just strong leadership plays a really, really big role. The team that we have currently, uh, there's I'm surrounded with extremely smart people. But the biggest thing is we really trust each other and collaborate with each other, and there's no egos. So I just think when that happens, everything is possible, because there's not going to be things unsaid or just kind of, you know, unexpected moves. We're just going to work with each other and we're going to figure it out.
Well, it sounds like culture is really strong at Kindsight, and perhaps for the listeners who are maybe new to this world, to the company, to the island, could you give us a bit of an elevator understanding of the work that y'all do?
So iWave started over 2 decades ago as kind of being a data provider for to help nonprofits. In 2017, it wanted to evolve and kind of become the number one provider of fundraising intelligence to help nonprofits all throughout North America. At that point, new leadership was brought in different areas of the business to kind of become the market leader. We feel that we've achieved that around 2022, at which point it changed private equity backing. And then we wanted the next challenge to just kind of take this company to the next level and not be just this kind of source of data and intelligence, but do something really bigger to help nonprofit successfully accomplish their missions. And that's when we knew we needed to acquire other software and kind of just get bigger and kind of service more end to end the nonprofits. And that's when we acquired in 2023 a CRM, so how people manage their donations and know donors. We acquired a small generative AI company. That's when we felt the need to rebrand ourselves from iWave to Kindsight and kind of just chant that we were the place to do fundraising intelligence and kind of just help nonprofits have the best tools and the best data to kind of just work fast and smart. The fundraising world is very under resourced. People do not have enough time to do all of the things that they have to do. So we have successfully done that. And then this week we announced the acquisition of another CRM.
Congratulations.
It's been a wild ride, but really our big theme this week is better together. Like we are bringing companies that have the same culture that, ultimately we're in the business to help nonprofits do amazing things. And we want to be the best at it. So it's been great. The company is over 250 people now across all North America, even though iWave started as a BI company pretty much 20 some years ago.
Wow, and so now you're in the hot seat as a CTO of a growing national company that has posed no small feat to maintain its culture and keep that sustainable model while it's growing. Can you tell me a bit about maybe some leadership shifts you might have had to undertake as the company grew into the hundreds and now nearly 300, and what that has maybe taught you on this side, and perhaps what's in your head as you keep moving forward?
I think the biggest shift that maybe I had to do 10 years ago, and every leader has to do this, is eventually as you grow in your career, you typically become the manager initially of the job you used to do. So it's easy as you grow to understand what everyone on your team's doing because you used to do that. As you grow more and more and your team grow, then there will be roles on your team that you manage that are roles that you could not do. And I'll be the first one to say the vast majority of the people on my team I couldn't do that. I manage developers and I am not a developer.
Likewise.
So I think the key is, I've always been in the weeds. I like to understand. I had to kind of find the balance of trusting the people on my team that they're doing what they're doing in the areas that I don't understand, but at the same time that I ask the right questions at the right time to make sure that we are staying on pace and we're doing the right thing. So the shift that had to happen is really hiring the right people, keeping the communication lines open, trusting that they are capable at what they do, and just always questioning the whys to making sure we are staying on path. I love discussing things. I like like I said, I'm a graphical mind and a mathematical mind. So everything, like sometimes we have problems. Just recently, again, at work, we had some complex strategic items to do, and we were all kind of trying to figure it out. And I said to the team, I think I have a visual representation that is in my head right now. Let me put this on PowerPoint to see if everyone understands the problem this way. So I feel like I have been able to synthesize and kind of display problems in a way that people can all consume. I don't necessarily solve the problem, but I present it in a way that now it's clear, and then we can talk about it and we solve it together.
Well, kind of further on that trail, can you tell us a bit about like a day in the life of a CTO in an organization like this?
It's meetings. That's what it is.
Yes, it is.
It's hopping from Zoom meetings to Zoom meetings. But quite frankly, it was an adjustment. I know that's not exactly the question you asked me, but I wave in 2020 on March 11th, actually, is when we launched our big product. Just 2 days before we shut down for COVID, we were like 98% in office. And like I said, I'm a people manager. I like body language. I like, people say a lot when they don't say anything. So for me, having to shift and managing a team that I was just seeing on little Zoom squares and not in the same room, it was quite an adjustment to manage people virtually. Now, as we're growing, as we're all over North America, it's a shift. I think it's a shift that everyone had to do. I think it was a little bit harder on me being such a kind of people watcher in meeting rooms.
Yeah.
But nowadays, you know, a day in the life is getting updates from each of the product team as to what they're working on. It's a ton of one-on-ones with the people that report into me, the people, my peers, my boss. It's meeting with clients to see what their pain points are. It's finding capacity for development, finding new talent. It never stops, but it's meetings. We just recently hired a new chief product officer at Kindsight. So for a while, I was doing both roles, not very well, I must say, but I was in charge of the product and the tech team. We finally just brought in someone with a ton of expertise to do that role. So I'm spending a lot of time with him, kind of just offloading half of my responsibilities. But yeah, I don't know if that really gave you an idea of what a day in the life is, but I'm at my desk behind Zoom calls or Google Meet or Teams
Pick your
all the
poison.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
How do you think that your background and leadership style shows up in the day to day now that you're in this mode, redefining your role? The company continues to grow, and your team's kind of looking at the news and they're thinking through all the what ifs. How do you navigate the courses from here?
I mean, I don't take myself too seriously, nor do I take my teams too seriously. I think it's important to have fun, and that's key. Don't overthink it. Don't. I've learned. I'm still learning, but I've learned. Don't try to be like another CTO or another VP of product. Like I've learned now, like I'm my own way here, and just embrace it. It seems to work. My impatience also allows me though to get straight to the point, and I don't have time to just, make meetings fun necessarily. We have to get to the point. And I'm also fairly driven. I hate failure. So I will assure that we stay on track and we do what we're expected to do. Um, yeah, I would say those are the things that would transpire every day. But I love my job, and I want to make sure also that everyone at work is enjoying themselves too, because when people are having fun, good things happen.
I'm a firm believer that culture comes from the top.
And yeah, there's a lot of notions of authenticity in here. Impatience, maybe we don't usually think of as a great word, but that is really resonating here, which I think the
Analogous to that would be like let's just get to it. Let's
Yep.
do the right thing and get on. So for folks here on the island that are pursuing tech careers, or maybe they're entrepreneurs or would-be's, or they're curious, what do you think from your path along your journey to this moment is something you would like to impart on people who aren't spending all day listening to you being impatient?
I mean, it may not be for everybody, but embrace challenges even if it's not quite the challenge that you thought you were going to do coming out of school. I guess some people are not as comfortable with the unknown. So I know that advice won't work for everybody. But if you can find a little bit of comfort in, trying something you don't really know how to go about it, or it's not exactly the industry you want it to be in, but like there's something to be learned in just about any tech role. And don't be scared to kind of just take that next step, even if it's a slight deviation from what you thought you were going to do. Again, you would have asked me 20 years ago where I thought I was going to be. I would have not said where I am today. It kind of just accidentally happened by just taking that next challenge and then opening that door. And I was like, oh, look, I can do this. Let's try this challenge. So I will say I always somewhat knew deep down that I wanted to be at a leadership level in a company. I feel like I always was comfortable with business strategy. So that aligns with what I thought 20 years ago, but I never thought necessarily, well, no, I would have never guessed that I was going to be a chief technology officer in any company, let alone on Prince Edward Island, but, changing the world in all of North America. So.
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much for coming aboard. And for those that want to learn a little bit more about you or Kindsight, where can they find it out?
Kindsight.io, LinkedIn, just pop in the office. I could say that if you're on PI, there's not many people in the office, but we're on the second floor of the Holman Grand, just across the street from this awesome studio. But yeah, just LinkedIn is probably, if you want to get in touch with me, it's a fabulous company. We always have open roles. So also if you want to join us, whether you're in sales, you're in tech, you're in marketing, it's an amazing company to work for.
Well, congratulations to you and the crew over at Kindsight. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, folks, for checking out Tech and Table. I want to give a special thanks to Ada Culinary Studio, a space for pushing the limits of creativity with food. I want to thank our special guest, Mary Côté, for coming along, and give a shout out to our website, peitalliance.com, where you can learn more about our organization,